Hi, this is Dean Takahashi at VentureBeat. I'm here with Brian Fargo, who's head of inXile. And Brian I met a long time ago, back maybe 1990 or so, when he was CEO of Interplay, one of the pioneers of the game industry. And you guys were working on a game called Stonekeep for a long time there. That was a big sort of dungeon-oriented role-playing game. And now you're doing something kind of similar?
Yeah, a little deja vu there. I think we met. We were both 12 years old, weren't we? When we
Yeah.
met, I think, back then. But yeah, ironically, I mean, I've always been a fan of the dungeon crawl, all the way back to the original Bard's Tale, and there was Dragon Wars, and then Stonekeep was certainly one of the big ones from the 90s. And when we made Stonekeep at the time, I remember we used to talk about the fact, because things were going more real time. Ultima Underworld was it had less graphic fidelity, but you had no more latitude to look up and down and do anything you wanted, right? And Stonekeep was more fixed, but looked graphically better. But at the time, I kept saying, one day we'll be able to do Stonekeep type of graphics, but in a real-time environment. Well, today's the day, and here we are.
And what's your new game here?
The new game's Hunted, the Demon's Forge, and we've been in development for a couple of years now. And I think it's a nice mixture. I think that it's comfortable with today's action gamer. It is the year 2010, so gameplay style is different. But for people who are more kind of the old school, like the dungeon explore and solve puzzles and have magic mouse and that sort of thing, we've got that element for them.
So the two characters sort of cooperatively playing there, you guys have really sort of studied this pretty hard and tried to make that.
On the co-op side, yeah. Well, we having grown up again playing Dungeons and Dragons, you often play with your friends, and so it was about experiencing the dungeon together. The most common question I get from people who are not in my field professionally is, why don't we do more co-op games? And so we've addressed that in this, and there's some pretty unique co-op activity that we put in here that I think people will respond to.
So you have a team of 50 here. How does that compare to Stonekeep? I assume things have gotten more expensive.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, that was a fairly expensive project at the end of the day, but I mean, that product was. We were doing. We did a lot of pioneering. We were trying to do filming on blue screens and things like that. We had an open CG movie, and it was actually quite a production. But the team size was, let's see, if I think team size was probably about half of that it is. But
that was the big budget game in its day, I guess.
That was a big budget game. That was a $5 million budget game. It wasn't supposed to be $5, and it ended up costing $5. I don't think that was the original intent. But there's just, as you know, in this day and age, there's a lot more than just my 50 or 55 guys on this game. There's a lot of external resources that are also working on it, and the musical scores and the mocap actors and things like that. There's a lot more going on outside just our shop that are extra costs.
And Bethesda's publishing it. Do you guys have a sort of target date yet?
Well, fortunately, we're in a position where the game is done when it's done. And Bethesda is the publisher, and they're perfect for this kind of game. But we're not giving any dates yet.
And you're using Unreal technology and targeting the PS3 and 360 and the PC.
Yeah, we're targeting the big three formats, and it's simultaneous development. We're doing all of it internally, so it's not like we have some outside developer doing any of the ports. So they'll all be high quality.
So you still like making the big bets? Huh?
I still do. I still like the big games. It's something that I think resonates with everybody, and the industry is so much bigger than before. I mean, it's everybody talks about it. They're being turned into movies. I mean, it's amazing how big it's become. But yeah, I love doing the big sexy products. They're a lot of fun.
And you also have maybe 20 people doing casual games, I guess, or different kinds of games. I guess.
Yeah, well, the business is changing a lot at the same time in terms of direct to consumer and social networking type games and the whole advertising based model with free to play and upgrades and as wearing my business hat now, I need to understand how those businesses work, and I need to understand them not just from studying them and reading paper. I need to be right there in the thick of things, and so that's why we are dabbling in all of those businesses. We have iPhone applications, we have PSN applications, we have games on Steam, we have free to play, we have things we sell directly on our own website. So we're doing all those different facets, so I understand it.
And maybe you can use those things to market or promote the big game.
Well, most definitely. I mean, we have a fairly large installed base. We have, at one point we had about 1.5 million uniques at our peak on our site, and I think as we start releasing some of the new titles coming out this year, we'll probably get that back up to that and probably greater. And so that's all, that's our audience, and we can talk to them directly.
Great, that's Brian Fargo, and his big game is Hunted. Thank you very much.
Great, thanks.